guys know You're all right? Okay, Antonio, right? All right. We can hang together. All right. So I come from 47th Street, and when I started teaching, when I started going to college, I wondered why I grew up on 47th Street, and that's how I got involved in history. I mean, why did I end up where I am? Why didn't I end up someplace richer, or nicer, or better, or poorer than I am? Right? Why did I end up where I was? So I was at 47th and National, and you know, wondered why, and that led me to a journey, really, to look at Chicago and to figure out how my family got to where they got to, and how I got to where I am, and sort of figure those out. So in a way, history sort of tells you where you're coming from, and where you might go, or at least gives you some idea. So Chicago's history, I'm going to, go through this kind of quick, and then we can talk a little bit. Chicago grew up as a harbor town. A lot of sailors. A lot of ships coming in from foreign places, etc. It was the busiest harbor town in the country in the 1800s. The river provided a port for Chicago. And here we have, anybody know what that tall building is in there? It's a grain elevator. It's filled with grain. That's how they sell grain, so that when you make bread and pizza, those companies buy it, from these grain elevators. So you've got a grain elevator here, you've got a ship here, a paddle wheel ship, came across the lake, Muskegon, and you've got a railroad, and you've got ox carts. You've got everything in this picture that is a way of getting around in the mid-19th century. This is before the Civil War, and this is right at the mouth of the Chicago River, right about where, not far from where the Wrigley Building. You know the Wrigley Building, big sort of white building that looks sort of like Birthday Cake or something, right on the river. So it's right about there. Sure.
I have a question.
What's your name? I forgot your name. I'm sorry.
Romeo.
Romeo, okay.
No, I just got a quick thing about where we come from. I ain't never was taught this, but I'm my history teacher. Like why they say 19th century when it was in the 18th century? Like, since we in it, I don't get why they call us the 21st century. Why can't it just be the 20th when it's 20 like in the 19th century? It's 19.
Well, then what would be the year 89?
The 89th century.
No.
So I'll call it the 90th.
No, it would be the 89th century. It'd be the first century, right?
The first century.
It's the first century, right? It was the year 89.
Yeah,
It'd be the first century.
It's because that is within the first 100 years.
Yeah.
So from 0 to 100.
So it's always
that
a little bit behind. My students get this confused all the time. So the 19th century, what's the year start?
18.
18.
Was that crazy?
No, it's pick it up with your math.
You're right.
All right. Okay, these were lumber yards. Chicago had the largest lumber yards in the world. This is Pilsen around 18th and Halsted, about 1871. These were the largest lumber yards in the world. And that's because Chicago brought all this wood from northern Michigan and from Wisconsin. And you know a little book, you probably haven't read it, but a book that was really big when I was in grammar school, Little House on the Prairie. Did you ever hear that? Yeah. Little House on the Prairie is about these farmers who built this little house on the prairie. Well, they got their wood from Chicago because you don't get wood on the prairie. There's no forests on the prairie. So all this wood from Wisconsin, Michigan would come into Chicago, and then we would distribute it. And then we started distributing meat, hogs, and sheep, and cattle. Would come into Chicago in large numbers. This is the Union Stockyards. This was between Halsted and National, 47th to 39th Street. Let me give you a number here, and it's a 106-year history, $1 billion of livestock entry schemes. $1 billion. Right? That's a lot. It's a lot of life. It's a lot of meat. Okay? And one day, 120,000 hogs. Who's ever been around a hog? I mean, your little brother. Okay? Who's ever been around a hog? You ever been around a hog? No? Heard about that? used to yard them. I worked in the stockyard, so they're about that big. They weigh anywhere from 300 to 800 pounds. Okay? Smart and they're nasty. Okay? 120,000 of them came in one day to come and be sold to you in the stockyards. So what do you need if you're going to sell it? You need a lot of men, women, everybody working together, pushing those things to keep them profit. See those little square boxes? Those are all cattle. Those are filled with cash. And this is from a hot air balloon. This was an aerial picture taken in 1900 from somebody who went up in a hot air balloon. This is an airplane today. Went up in a hot air balloon and took this photograph of the stockyard. All right, so we've got lumber coming in. We've got, yes, sir.
This is my last thing.
I can't hear you.
I said this is my last thing because it's kind of interesting because I kind of think about slavery over here.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Okay.
But, ain't it like funny, like how slavery was like 154 years ago?
Okay.
You don't feel like you lived through it? You don't feel like you lived through it at all?
No, I'm not going to do that.
No, I'm saying. I'm not saying you lived through it.
Okay.
I'm saying, don't you get that feeling like you lived through it before? Like you already know what was going on?
Like you could relate to it, maybe?
Like you was in it.
Well, if you learn about
No, that's crazy.
It's not crazy. It's not crazy.
You better.
This is steel mills down
Let
in
me
the
calm
south side.
down.
Those of you who live in Inglewood, on 71st Street, all the way to the lake, okay? South Shore, just a little bit to the south of that are the steel mills. So Chicago was a place for people to come. Western Electric and Cicero, Berlin, Sears plant that was right here. Sears plant that was right here. Most of the people who lived in this neighborhood originally worked in it. But they say about New York. They say in New York that if you can't make it there, you can't. No, but if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere, right? But people used to say in Chicago that if you can't make it here, you can't make it anywhere because there's always a lot of opportunity here. So, think about Chicago. Look at all the different kinds of people that live in a place like Chicago. White people, black people, brown people, Asians. Everybody's sort of being funneled in here. Why? Because there's all this economic opportunity, because there's also this chance to create something. You get women who work in factories. You get, what do you think this is?
The loop.
Where?
Downtown.
It is downtown.
Or is that Johnson Grove?
It's downtown.
I said, is that Johnson Grove? I can't say that word.
It's the corner of Randolph and Dearborn. Right?
I just said.
So you can just think about how congested the loop was at the time. Right? So let's look at these different migration waves. First you get the French coming in, and you get Yankees. Yankees are people from New England and upstate New York. And Western and Northern Europeans, Eastern and Southern Europeans, and African Americans, Hispanics, and Asians. Coming in wave after wave after wave. Okay? All responding to different kinds of impulses, different kinds of attempts to move to a place like Chicago. And most of these immigrant groups tend to live in neighborhoods and were mixed with each other. The one exception eventually became the African American community, which was more segregated in the U.S. This is the West Side. Now, if you think of this as the West Side, this is